A Hearthswarming Eve Carol by Broccoli. Chapter 1. The Beginning. The bell above the door to Carousel Boutique rang. "Merry Hearthswarming Eve!" said the two ponies who entered. Verity tried to the front row of her shop to meet the arrivals. Two fillies were standing by the doorway. They had to stare a couple of seconds at Rarity in order to recognize her. The white pony did not look like her usual self. Her blue hair was messy and stiff. She had bags under her eyes, and her head was hanging low. "Sweetie Belle, your friends are here!" she yelled at the stairway. Evelyn and Skulu looked at each other. Verity was tapping the ground with her hoof, while her eyes seemed to get more and more heavy. "Sweetie Belle!" This time she raised her voice. "She's not in a very good mood," Verity explained to the fillies. "She's probably sitting by the fireplace, moping, as usual." White Unicorn grinded her teeth before turning to the stairs. "I don't have time for this. Either you come down, or I'm going to have to ask your friends to leave." Once again, Applebloom and Scootaloo made eye contact. They were sitting comfortably still on the floor, just waiting for something to happen. Suddenly they could hear the stairs creak, and another pony with a snow-white coat appeared. "Hi," she said to the carpet while strolling towards the fillies. "Now remember, I want you home before it gets dark." Verity turned around and was about to walk to her workroom. "It's winter. It's always dark," Sleebell said with a frown. "It doesn't matter. I don't have time to go look for you if you get lost. Tonight is a very busy night." "Busy?" Applebloom looked at Rarity with a confused expression. "But it's Hearthswarming Eve. Why are you busy?" "Apparently we're not celebrating Hearthswarming Eve this year." Sleebell grabbed a small coat from her hook near the entrance door. "Why not?" "Mary's busy." Applebloom looked from Rarity to her sister. "Well, you can come to our house. We have plenty of food, and—" "That's quite all right, dear," Rarity said. "I don't want Sleepy Belle walking alone through the dark." "She will be walking alone. We'll be there," said Skulu. "Still, I'm going to be worrying about her all evening. It's best you return her home before dark. Sweetie Belle." The younger sister, through her coat, looked over her shoulders and walked out the door, slamming it behind her. "Well," everyone looked at Rarity while smiling awkwardly. "See ya." Then she and Skulu disappeared from where they came. "Have fun, girls." Rarity allowed her to close her eyes for a moment. It felt so nice as she smiled like a distantly, but then suddenly opened them again when she remembered all the fabric lying in her workroom, just waiting to be turned to fashionable items. With a sigh, she gazed drowsily deeper into the Carousel Boutique. Thanks to those three fillies, she had completely forgotten where she was. Rarity shut her eyes again, trying to recall the designs of the winter dress she was working on. She felt a shiver of please run down her spine at the mere feeling of having her eyes closed, and wondered whether it would be beneficial to take a break. She would just relax for a bit, maybe take a quick nap, then was back to work with more enthusiasm and focus than ever. Verity hit the wall in the hallway with her horn, the pain of the horn being pressed into her skull. Skull. It is a simple thing to fix. Made her ascend to reality at once. She expressed her agony in a slight moan and rubbed the horn with a hoof, as if that would help. "I really should watch where I'm going," she thought. Her face squinted as if because of the pain as a constant headache. "Maybe I do need a nap." Perhaps this was Destiny's way of telling her to concentrate. After all, she couldn't let this opportunity go down the drain. While all of her competition in Caroline was celebrating Hearthswarming Eve, she had an advantage. If she worked on her line of winter clothes tonight, as well as the following week, she could get them to the market before any of the big names in Canterlot. That would really put Carousel Boutique on the fashion map. Perhaps receive orders from the castle itself, maybe from abroad. Verity smiled at this thought. If it meant she would have to skip Hearthswarming Eve one year, then so be it. It's not like the holiday wouldn't come again. The hours went by. Verity continuously cantered between the pale beige pony mannequin standing in the middle of her workroom and the bulletin board where she hung huge large drawings displaying details of the outfit she was working on. Now and again she made a few adjustments on the drawings, deleted them, and then stared at the original design, made some other modifications, deleted them also. She wrapped a brown scarf around the neck of the mannequin and turned her head slightly to the left while covering her mouth with a hoof. "So I appear to be using brown?" she asked herself out loud. "What is the color of the year? Oh, who cares? The year's nearly over anyway." Verity frowned intensely. Her headache was tearing it again. It was making it increasingly difficult to concentrate. A drop of sweat rolled down her forehead and was absorbed by the inside of her glasses. She groaned deeply, used her magic to remove her glasses from her face. Verity looked around her. I swear, one more misplaced comma and I'm going to start taking account. There were fabrics all around, hanging on the walls, resting on stools or desks. Ding! Though they were all expensive materials, she would never dream of using them to clean her glasses. The kitchen of the Carousel Boutique was extraordinarily scruffy. Rarity had time to tidy, and Sweet Belle contributed more to the chaos than clean up. There were day-old pans and pots in the sink. Ding! Dairy coloring, spilled beverages decorated the kitchen table. Ding! A half-eaten pie was beginning to mold on the dining table. Ding! Sweet Betty, you're such a pig. Rarity carefully put down her glasses on the less repulsive area in the room. She magically levitated the pie while keeping her distance. Quickly, she opened the trash can with a hoof and ended the life of the pie. Where is Sweetie Belle, by the way? Rarity turned around, trying to remember if she had heard the doorbell to the boutique ring recently. She looked out the window. Ding! The moon was full and black, surrounded by the blackened night. Rarity could not recall how long she had been working. It had been definitely light outside when the three fillies had come to visit, but now the sun had already set. Sweetie Belle! There was no answer. Verity began to walk around the room of the building. Ding! She continued up the stairway. When she was halfway, she yelled again, Are you still not, Sweetie Belle? Verity sighed. She hadn't gotten time to deal with her sister's problems. We will celebrate housewarming next year, I promise. She went all the way up the flight of stairs. There was no Sweetie Belle on the second floor either. I told her to return before I got dark, didn't I? Verity walked to the window and looked outside. Ponyville was quiet. There was not a pony to be seen. Only the light shining from the windows of the nearby houses indicated that the village was inhabited. Maybe Sweetie Belle had gone to Applejack in order to celebrate Hearthswarming Eve after all. Even though Rarity explicitly stated she had to return before it got dark. Maybe she was elsewhere. Maybe she was lost. Rarity exhaled tiresomely when she realized what she had to do. She had to go to the apple farm in order to make sure Sweetie Belle was in fact there. She could not bear the thought, let alone work optimally, knowing that her sister might be stuck in a pile of snow, wandering aimlessly in the blistering cold. Have you guys noticed that we've done a lot of Rarity fix this year? The thought of winter's breath caused Rarity to shiver. Applejack's farm was so far away. She had to traverse half of Ponyville with the icy wind in her face. But that was not the worst part. There's another reason why Rarity was reluctant to visit the apple farm. She could just imagine what Applejack would say to the fact that Rarity had chosen to skip Hearthswarming Eve. She'd never be able to leave the farm, but instead spend the entire evening listening to her explain the importance of tradition and spending time with her family and other platitudes. Then Rarity would be further behind her schedule. Why couldn't Sweet Belle just hurry herself and come home? Her sister was currently ruining Rarity's plan about getting ahead on her work by just working on Hearthswarming Eve. Sweetie Belle could be very stubborn and self-centered sometimes. Rarity frowned at the thought of Sweetie Belle's disobedience. Once again, she felt her headache hammered on the inside of her skull. Maybe she should lie down for a moment or two. Rarity turned around and eyed the deviant in the corner of the room longingly. With hesitation, she made her way over there. The white pony persisted on the soft cushion patting the deviant. She'd forgotten how nice it was to lie down with her closed eyes. Rarity rested her head on the front legs and exhaled a deep, long sigh. Then smiled for the first time in many days. Though, after a few seconds, she raised her head again. Really, she opened her eyes. I have to find Sweetie Belle. But the deviant was just too soft, and allowed her a few more seconds to rest. The whole Carousel Boutique was silent. The quietness descended like a thick blanket on Rarity, making it hard not to lie completely immovable. But suddenly, something broke the stillness. The sound was familiar, though a lot more clear and sharp than otherwise. Rarity arose from the deviant and took to the floor. The bell had rung. Sweetie Belle had returned home. Rarity yawned once she walked down the stairs. She remembered to put on a resentful expression. Her sister was about to get the scolding of a lifetime. What was her deal coming home at this hour? Why did she insist on postponing Rarity's work, while leaving her in a state of apprehension and uncertainty? But when Rarity entered the front room of the boutique, there was not a pony in sight. She looked at Belle above the door. It was tranquil and completely motionless, like it had been frozen in time. Sweetie Belle! Verity called, expecting a quick response, but it never came. Let's jeans. Could one I heard the bell ring. Verity walked to the kitchen. Glasses rested on the kitchen table, watching her. She turned around and checked the other rooms. No Sweetie Belle, although one room remained unchecked. Verity moaned when she realized what it was. I have you. You are not allowed in my workroom. When Verity stormed into the room, she saw it looked like exactly as he did when she had left it. The mannequin was dark in the dim light. It wore a half-completed outfit. Even though it didn't have any eyes, Verity felt it like it was watching her like the glasses. This wasn't funny, sweet belle. Hiding will not make me less mad at you. Verity twirled around in confusion. She heard the bell ring. She was certain of it. Some point had entered her store. But if it wasn't Sweet Belle, who could it be? The bell then rang again. Verity felt her heart skip a beat. She galloped out of the workroom as fast as she could to the entrance room. But when she went to the door to the Carousel Boutique, she saw that the bell was straight and unmoving. There was a silence, and no pony was to be seen or heard. That's funny, Verity giggled with a sense of amusement. I'm not such a dreary pony that I cannot tell a well-crafted prank when I see one. You had me fooled for a while, I admit, but I am on to you. She looked down from left to right, expecting some point to show her face. Come forward, Rainbow Dash. No reaction. Be-bye. Twilight. Only quietness felt the void. Suddenly Verity let out an annoyed moan. Well, whoever keeps ringing by the doorbell better cut it out. I have a mountain of work to complete in which to not be disturbed any longer. The bell rang once more. Verity stared right at the doorbell as it was ringing. Still it didn't move. Am I imagining this? Verity rubbed her temple, trying to calm down her mind. Perhaps there's a stress. Maybe she had been working too long. Though the doorbell didn't stop ringing. Verity closed her eyes, hoping to wake up from the dreams she must be experiencing. But it never happened. All of a sudden, the constant, high-frequency noise of the bell changed. It became deeper, slower. It was more of a rattling sound than a ringing one. Verity knew the sound, but had a hard time distinguishing it. Then she realized what it was. It was the sound of chains rattling. A shadow peeked from the hallway to her right. Verity jumped to the sight. She instantly away from the opening to the hall, watching as the shadow came closer. Some pony had entered her home. Twilight had once told her that burglaries were common in Camelot during Hearths Eve, but Rarity had never heard of such an incident in Ponyville. Though some pony had to be the first to experience, she guessed. Verity aimed her horn at the hallway. The lady of the hall cast in a long shadow into the room. It was a pony form, but a bit misshaped. The sound of clattering chains became louder with the shadow's growth. Verity saw the figure enter the room. She gasped. Her jaw quickly went numb from her extensive gawk. Her eyes went wide before she blinked in puzzlement. She rubbed them, thinking that she wasn't hallucinating. Verity's mannequin was walking awkwardly towards her. Its movements were stiff and mechanical, but it didn't chance the fact that it was moving closer to Rarity, automatically backed away in response. The mannequin was still wearing that outfit Rarity was working on. Brown and white textiles dangled from the back of the figure. The sounds of chains were deafening. Rarity covered her ears, scanning the room while wondering where the source of the noise was. Suddenly, the mannequin stopped and began to stare at her. Actually, Verity wasn't sure it was staring. It was hard to tell since the mannequin had no eyes, but it was just his faceless head and height of Verity. It was not hard to imagine that it looked straight at her, just as the mannequin stopped moving, the clarion chain subsiding. Verity! The mannequin's voice was a hissing sound, like the howl of a winter storm through a small cabin hut. Wait! Time out! Rita, I thought this was a Christmas Canada story, not Silent Bunnyville. Well, Rarity, I think out of all the girls, you're the only one who didn't get a Silent Ponyville story. Are you sure? Because what else I got one? Yeah, I'm gonna have to check the Silent Hill crossovers, but enjoy. Oh, bollocks! Rarity didn't know what was more bizarre. The fact that it knew her name or could talk without a mouth. Yes, what do you want? The mannequin didn't respond. It was just standing calmly before the pony as it had never been moving or speaking. Who are you? Verity asked. I mean, I know you're not my mannequin. You're alive. Or have you always been alive? I am you, the pony model answered. Me? Thus it said, I am not a mannequin. You will be. If you don't change, you'll be exactly like me. How so? Once again, the mannequin took its time to respond. Heartless, faceless. Your only purpose in life is to wear pretty clothes. You're already well on your way to become me. Well, not exactly. I make clothes, I run a business, I run a small store, and I craft clothes. I don't always wear them. I stylize them, I examine them, and I also sell them and make them. No, 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 no. No, no, your only purpose in life is to wear pretty clothes. I also offer my help in constructing. I also do decorations. I also really do a marvelous job at reconstructing old materials. Have you seen the work I did on the castle? No, 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 no. Focus, focus, focus. Fine, fine, fine. Okay, all right. I'll read the next line. Narrator, 9-3, please. Now Rarity was beginning to get irritated. She was not going to stand there and be insulted by her own work. Such beastly accusations. Do you realize whom you're talking to? Now, I don't know what you are or where you come from, but I can assure you one thing. I am not heartless. If you don't change, you will be, the mannequin repeated. Just because I skipped one day, I only want to do this one day, although the question becomes, why did I decide to start my winter's clothing on during the first month of winter when I should have started in the fall line so I could have gotten head of the pack. I mean, I should have started. Will you focus? Okay, okay. I'm just saying that my schedule would not allow me to be set up this way. Verity died. Take it back to the hallucinations gone far enough. What if you say? She looked at the mannequin, glared back at the empty places. Everything was so quiet, and sound of change would reappear. I heard the chain clatter earlier. Do you know anything about that by any chance? The mannequin moved closer. Her chains could be heard once again. I am wearing them, it whispered. Verity moved a few feet to the left, expansive the mannequin's body. I am sorry, but I don't see any. It's the clothes. They are like chains around me. They keep me from moving freely. They maintain me a prisoner forever. You do not wish to share my fate. I sure don't. Verity was about to add, I want to be a stiff mannequin. But that thought would probably offend it. She looked around. This isn't real. I mean, nightmare beings, chaotic monsters, and ancient demons from the past, sure, but ghostly mannequins? No. You will be spirited by 3 spirits. One that will show you your past. One will show you your present. Last will show you your future. So, whatever you say. Verity looked around the room. She had given up on the possibility of this being a prank. But there were no strings in the mannequin or any pony controlled elsewhere. Mark my words, Verity. You will regret skipping Hearthswarming Eve. Verity descended her eyebrows. Is this what it's about? Hearthswarming Eve. Are you saying because I'll become heartless because I decided to skip it for one measly year? Are you trying to make me feel guilty? I only picked once. It's just this one little time. I'll make up for it. I'll give a whole slew of presents to everybody else. I'll donate more than I usually do. How much do you donate? About a quarter of my earnings. What? Well, this year I had a rough year. Most of the time I donated a very good percentage to almost every single charity I could think of, while maintaining a good red line to keep myself profitable. What? Come here, Mr. Ghost. Tell me, how much do you spend on visiting ponies? No, 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 no. You cut that out. Look, you're going to be, look, 3 visits, 3 spirits, past, present, future. They'll show you, you're going to learn a lesson. Now you sit down and relax. Yoink! The mannequin kept staring with his non-existing eyes. Then it turned around stiffly and slowly. It returned to the hallway, and the sound of clattering chains reemerged. Wait! I'm not done talking to you. The only reason I'm not celebrating this year is because I have so much work to do. It's not because I don't like Hearthswarming Eve. I don't have a choice! Vic? This is your point? This is what you're trying to make? Whee! It's going over, and oh, it's gone. Yeah, over here. I think you're making a mistake by having Rarity do it only just once. The sound of the mannequin began to dismiss. Verity followed the creature, but when she entered the hallway, it was nowhere to be seen. She walked to the workroom, and as he expected, the mannequin was resting on the pole like usual. She sighed with relief and rubbed her eyes again. It's a stress. I've definitely been working far too long. Just to be sure, Rarity poked Mannequin with a hoof. He didn't complain. She shook the scarf, but the only sound made was sound flares close. I need sleep. Hmm. This fic was made in 2013. That means Princess Twilight, no Caroline Carousel, and no T-Rex or Rainbow Power. Rarity walked up the stairs, and it all felt so real. The mannequin's voice, the sound of chains, the way he had told Verity that all the three spirits would visit her, and apparently each represented the past, present, and future. She laughed to herself. Verity had no idea she was such an outstanding imagination. As she was strolling up the flight of stairs, she was met with yet another strange sound. It was laughter, a high-pitched giggle. As Bell returned home without her noticing, Verity ran to the second floor. What made her go back downstairs? Lighting on her Divian, a crystal-white Pegasus pony was cackling loudly with a book in its hose. Once Verity saw what the book was holding, she used her magic to rip it out of the stranger's possession. Who are you? Do you realize you are intruding on private property? The pony kept laughing. His silver mare was long and curly. The coat was nearly the same shade as Verity's. The nose was brighter. You look so cute as a baby. Verity snarled. She looked at the foam album. It was floating in the air before her. She saw herself sitting in a cradle while wearing a diaper. Her head was bald except for a small tuft of purple hair, which grew on her scalp like a discolored piece of weed. She then tucked the book back underneath the Divian where it came. How did you break in? I didn't. The pony flapped its wings and hovered in the air just above Verity. Didn't the mannequin bring you up to speed? I am the spirit of Hearthswarming Eve past. I'm here to remember some of the things you have forgotten. Well, I don't need your help. What I really need is some sleep. Oh, come on. It'll be fun. You can sleep later. Verity sighed. For your information, I have been working all day. As a result, I am seeing walking mannequins and Pegasi claiming to be spirits, which is why I have to sleep now. She threw herself on the Deviant and shut her eyes tightly, trying to block out the world around her. Hopefully, the white Pegasus would disappear eventually, just like the living mannequin had gone back to normal. You're all about work or sleep, aren't you? When was the last time you reflected over things, over your life or over your past? I do that all the time, Verity said with her eyes closed. Your past is fading away from you, Rarity. In time, you'll have forgotten it completely. That's what the Phantom album is for. You mean this thing? Rarity felt a breeze in her face. She opened it once. Pixis grabbed the album from beneath the Deviant. You haven't been looking at them often, it seems. The pictures are all very dusty. That's because they're old, not happened. For a second time there and tonight, Rarity jumped off the Deviant after being abruptly disturbed. She breathed like an angry bull. While staring at the Pegasus, it was flying in circles around the room. The foam album rested on his stomach, and the pony wetted a hoof before turning a page. Get that back! It's private! You'll have to catch me first! The white pony disappeared down the stairways like a gust of snowy wind. Its faint giggle could still be heard. Verity snarled and galloped up after the sound of laughter in hot pursuit. Downstairs, Verity heard the doorbell ring. She dreaded the noise so much it fired a blue spell, which caused the bell to break off the wall before falling to the ground a crumbled pile of dust. Verity stormed out the boutique. While she was outside, she was hit in the face by a gust of wind. The weather had worsened. A violent snowstorm was currently roaring over Ponyville, but the storm and night greatly limited Verity's view. Oh, come on, Wendigos! Just because one of us didn't! That is cheating. She used her magic to light up the area around her, though it proved only to be minorly effective. Okay, I'm baiting the Pegasi on this one. She could not see the Pegasus, even if it was flying just 2 feet from her face. She probably wouldn't have noticed. Its coat was white like snow, so it was pointless to look for it. Rarity listened for a giggle in the distance, only to hear the sound of whooshing steam of air, which blew right past her ears. Oh, I didn't think you would come. It was Pegasus' voice, Rarity was sure. What have you done with my album? She turned around to the spot, without knowing where to look. You'll get it later. First, I have to show you something. Rarity felt something wrap around her front legs. Before she could react, she was pulled upwards by the force. The ground disappeared beneath her hooves. She looked down and saw the carousel boutique grow smaller and smaller. She screamed, Relax, it's all part of the process. Even though it wasn't the smartest thing to do, Rarity twisted her body in order to escape the Pegasus' grip. Let me go, you ruffian! The pony, who was holding onto Rarity, continued laughing cheerfully. Rarity set her eyes closely. She was stiff with the coolness of the storm and of a fright. After only a few seconds, she felt snow-covered ground beneath her hose once again. Rarity opened her eyes carefully, saw the Pegasus land right next to her. She was taking a cold that grinded her teeth. If I catch a cold, it's because of you, she snapped. And I don't have time to catch a cold. The Pegasus waved a hoof in front of her. We have all the time in the world. Do not say that to a James Bond fan. Look what you did to my mane. Rarity grabbed a lock of her hair and the host stared with terror. The mane was full of snowflakes, and completely ruffled by the wind. Now you look like. The Pegasus shook its head, swirling its frizzy hair. Where are we? Wherever the Pegasus had chosen to transport Rarity to, it was some place where the storm wasn't. The wind was silent. The only sign of winter was the powder-like snow beneath their hooves. The white unicorn and Pegasus were standing before a light brown house with black timberwork. The lantern above it was the only colored door, and the snow was color. In the past. Rarity snorted. Yeah, right. Look, I may be good at my telekinesis, but I'm no Twilight Sparkle when it comes to spellcasting. There's no way I can operate a time spell. Were they still in Ponyville? The Pegasus couldn't have flown to a different town and started time to have been in the air. Does you remember this house? The Pegasus pointed at the building. Rarity squinted. She had a slight recollection about this place, but she couldn't say for sure. There was a stone step ladder to the front door, a heartwarming decoration rung on the wooden door, a braided ring of green pences, and a red bow on top. She remembered seeing the decoration somewhere before, but that didn't prove that she knew the house. A lot of ponies had that sort of decoration. After a while, she shook her head. Really? It's from that photo album that you seem to be so interested in. Pegasus strolled to the left, around the corner to the house. Rarity followed. At the side of the house there was a window behind which the gleaming color oriented. The Pegasus walked to the window and looked to the house. Verity sighed. Breaking into other people's houses and peeking through strangers' windows is not a typical heartwarming eve for you. I want this if I were you. The Pegasus pressed his face against the glass, glaring into the house. She was not being very discreet. It was only a matter of time before one of the residents noticed her. What is it? It's you. What? Verity joined the Pegasus at the window. She was only planning on looking into the house for a second. But what she saw was behind the window. She was glaring intently at Pegasus. It was true. Rarity was sitting on the floor before a flaming fireplace. The thick red carpet was resting looked cozy. She sipped a teacup, though it was holding it with her host and not by magic. This Rarity was a lot younger than the real one. She was roughly the same age as Sweetie Belle, but there's no doubt it was really her. Rarity could always recognize herself. But how could that be possible? Rarity pulled herself away from the window. Have we been really traveling back in time? The Pegasus nodded. Told you, I'm the spirit of Heartwarming Eve past. But what does this mean? Verity looked in the eyes of the pony next to her. I mean, why are you here? Why does it bring you back in time? Only you can answer that question for sure. The spirit continued to watch the younger Rarity. This was your last Heartwarming Eve as an only child. Rarity scanned the room. She could not locate Sleebell anywhere, but she did see her parents. They entered the room through the door and looked in. Rather looking to the window, Verity ducked swiftly. The spirit giggled again. They can't see us. Silly, don't worry. Verity peeped through the window once again. Her younger self smiled at the sight of her parents and joined her at the fireplace. She stretched her body and leaned against her father, who lay down beside her. She rested on his white coat and slowly closed her eyes. Her mother was levitating a book before her. She sat in her chair and began to read the story of the first Heartwarming Eve in a gentle, warm voice. I don't have a kitty mark, Verity noticed. This was before I realized what I wanted to do with my life. Pegasus nodded. You look so joyful, so innocent. It's almost like looking at one of the pictures in the photo album. Verity concurred. I suppose it is sort of charming in an old-fashioned way. I think Sleebell would kind of like this Verity. Verity who isn't obsessed with her work. It just takes a moment to relax. What do you mean? I relax all the time! Yeah, I've got Verity on this. That isn't my point. It's rare that Sleebell gets to see this side of you. And what side is that? The Pegasus shrugged. The side that shows you appreciate being the one you care about. That you enjoy spending time with your sister, without involving some sort of schedule or a plan. What are you talking about? I do plenty of things like that with the Streety Belle. You do, the spirit admitted, but only because you have to, not because you enjoy it. Look at yourself. Verity behind the window was laying flat on her stomach, or directing her ear towards her mother. Father wrapped her arms around her. Does you remember the feeling of security? Just letting go of all your troubles and live in the moment? Verity huffed. It's not very hard to let go of your troubles in that age. Fiddies don't have any worries. You don't have to pay bills or have any work to do. So you do miss it. Miss is a strong word. Rarity was lying before the fireplace, raised her head. She peeked towards right in the room where a large pine tree was standing. Its dark green branches took up a lot of space. They were decorated with balls of red, blue, and yellow colors. Star-type showed with diamond golden color. It was the bottom of the tree that Rarity was most interested in. Large packets with purple wrapping could be seen underneath the protective branch. I noticed you don't have a tree in your house back in Ponyville, the Pegasus said. I hadn't had time to find one. Besides, I never understand the purpose of planting a tree in the middle of the living room. Looks so tidy and out of place. Not to mention all those pine needles you have to clean up afterwards. The younger version of you seems to disagree. Verity on the other side of the window went towards the tree again. Raised a little bit and smiled before she represses her head on her father's fear. Still smiling. You are rather interested in that purple package. Suddenly Verity laughed. I know what this is about. She turned around and walked away from the window. Look, I realize what you're up to, Spirit. You want me to come to some sort of revelation. You want to teach me a lesson about the importance of Hearthswarming Eve. Hoping that I will change my mind and begin to celebrate this year. Well, guess what? It's not going to work. Don't get me wrong. I do appreciate the gesture, but I'm afraid I'm immune to that sort of thing. I'm a big pony. Skipping Hearthswarming Eve was my own decision, and I stand by it. Pegasus shrugged. I'm just here to show you your past. That's rather kind of you, but I'm sorry to say it has been in vain. Now, would you be so kind as to transport me back to Ponyville in my own time? We're not done here. The spirit returned to the window. That package means a lot to you. Look how happy it makes you. Your mind games are not going to work on me, dear. Rarity smiled confidently. You found it making me feel guilty and to have come to the wrong pony. You can't expect me to suddenly change my decision by showing me myself sitting before a fireplace. I have been thinking long and hard about skipping Hearthswarming Eve, and carefully evaluating the implications. It was a rational choice, and very difficult for me to make. Don't you think it hurts me to have done it? Do you think I want to work on the holiday? The spirit nodded. It's not always about you, Rarity. Your sister deserves the kind of joy that the Rarity in this house is experiencing right now. Streety Belle can survive skipping Hearthswarming Eve 1 year, don't you think? It'll only make the next one more special. Besides, my sister could have chosen to spend the holiday at my parents' house, but she didn't. That's not my fault. Pegasus didn't answer. She didn't even smile like she used to, but stared into the glow created by the fireplace. Rarity rolled her eyes. It still could be a pleasant holiday for Streety Belle. I have bought her a present for tomorrow, of course. And she's going to like it the same way I've enjoyed the packets underneath that pine tree there. The gift itself is not important. The spirit turned away, squinting eyes towards Rarity. It's the excitement you enjoyed more than the present itself. That's the whole joy of wrapping it in. If you knew what it was, you wouldn't be wondering. Rarity snored. Are you saying that Streety Belle cannot be wondering what I have brought her? It's hard to wonder when your mind is full of worry. The Oakhorn stepped a few feet back, looking at Pegasus with a perplexed expression. Streety Belle has nothing to worry about. I told you earlier. She is a filly. Fillies have no real worries like us adult ponies. Whatever. Just go back now. Thank you. The Pegasus tried towards Verity with a low-hanging head. Chill from us earlier has vanished, like a candle egg in a storm. She stared at the unicorn before frowning and saying, Do you recall what was in that packet? Verity nodded. My first ever sewing machine, without which I would never have discovered my true purpose in life. The spirit fled its wind. It grabbed Verity underneath her front legs and lifted her upwards. A few seconds, the Pegasus and unicorn were high in the chilly evening air. Rarity had to close her eyes because of the wind in her face. She only opened them again when she was standing, and saved sound from firm ground. Her face was stiff, and her hair was a tangled mass. She trembled in a cold breeze. Turning around, finding herself standing before the Carousel Boutique once again. My Pegasus was nowhere to see. and Rarity was rather grateful for it.